The red KLOZD sign in my flagship restaurant's window felt like a personal insult. Health code violations, the official notice claimed. Critical safety concerns. All complete lies, but that didn't matter anymore. Not when the mayor himself had signed the shutdown orders. I touched the window gently, remembering the day we'd opened 5 years ago. The crowd of excited customers, the buzz of anticipation, the pride in my wife Anna's eyes as she cut the ribbon. Now all 6 of my restaurants across the city sat empty, their reputations ruined by a coordinated campaign of bureaucratic warfare. My name is Daniel Martinez, and at 42, I built Heaven Restaurants from a single food truck into one of the most successful local chains in Boston. That success had made my brother-in-law, Mayor Robert Sullivan, very uncomfortable. "Mr. Martinez?" A quiet voice interrupted my thoughts. I turned to see Maria, one of my longest-serving employees, standing nervously on the sidewalk. "We all got the message about the emergency meeting tonight. Is it really over?" I managed a reassuring smile. "Come to the meeting, Maria. Nothing's over yet." She nodded, though I could see the doubt in her eyes. They all had the same look these days, my employees, my suppliers, even my own family. Everyone believed Robert had won. Everyone except me. Later that evening, I stood in the private room of a small Italian restaurant owned by my old friend Tommy, looking at the faces of my management team, people who had helped build Haven from nothing. I felt a mixture of guilt and determination. First, I began, "I want to apologize. You've all been caught in the crossfire of a personal vendetta. Mayor Sullivan's campaign against Haven has nothing to do with health codes or safety violations. It's about power, family, and a man who can't stand the idea of his sister's husband being successful without his permission." "We know that, Danny," Maria spoke up. She was running our downtown location before the shutdown. "What we don't know is how we fight back against City Hall." I pulled out my phone and pressed play. Robert's voice filled the room, clear and arrogant. "Listen carefully, Danny boy. These inspections can stop anytime. All you have to do is sell Haven to Thompson Restaurant Group. They've made a very reasonable offer, and they know how to show proper respect to the mayor's office." There were gasps around the room. Several people started speaking at once. "Is that? You recorded him. Thompson Group, aren't they his biggest campaign donors?" I held up my hand for silence. That conversation was from 6 months ago. It was the first direct threat, but not the last. I played another recording. "Your latest health inspection is tomorrow. Funny how many violations they keep finding, isn't it? But I'm a reasonable man. Sell to Thompson, take their lowball offer, and all these problems go away." "You've been recording everything?" Tony asked from the doorway where he'd been listening. I nodded. "For 2 years. Ever since Robert started making comments about how unfortunate it would be if Haven had regulatory issues. I knew eventually he'd get explicit about his threats. He's too arrogant not to." The room was silent as the implications sank in. Recording the mayor discussing what amounted to extortion and abuse of power. It was either incredibly brave or incredibly stupid. "But why wait?" Maria asked. "Why let him shut us down if you had this evidence?" "Because it wasn't enough," I explained. "Robert's smart. He always left himself deniability. But yesterday he finally went too far." I pulled out my laptop and played the security footage from my meeting in his office that morning. The audio was crystal clear. "You really thought you could fight City Hall?" Robert's smug face filled the screen. "I've shut down all your restaurants. Maybe now you'll learn your place in this family. Sell to Thompson, take the loss, and maybe I'll let you manage one of their locations. That's more your speed anyway." "That's blatant abuse of power," Tommy said quietly, using his position as mayor to force a business sale to his campaign donors. "It's also personal," I added. "He's made it clear this is about putting me in my place, about showing everyone that nothing succeeds in this city without his approval." "What about Anna?" Maria asked gently. "She's his sister. How does she feel about all this?" The question hit hard. Anna had been caught between her brother and me since this started, trying to maintain family peace while watching her brother systematically destroy our business. "She knows everything," I said, "including what I'm about to do next. She's the one who suggested I record the conversations in the first place." That got their attention. They knew Anna, her kindness, her dedication to family harmony, as she was supporting this. "Here's the plan," I continued. Tomorrow morning, I have a meeting with someone from the State Attorney General's office. The recordings, the falsified health reports, the connection to Thompson Group, it's all going to them. The mayor will fight back, Tony warned. He'll claim the recordings are fake, that you're just a disgruntled business owner trying to damage his reputation. I smiled. That's why we need copies of everything. Every piece of paperwork, every email, every inspection report. I need you all to document everything you've seen and heard. But more importantly, I reached into my briefcase and pulled out a stack of papers. I need you to be ready for what comes next. They leaned forward as I laid out the documents, incorporation papers for a new company, lease agreements for locations just outside city limits, detailed plans for something bigger than Haven had ever been. Robert thinks shutting down our restaurants will destroy us, I said. He has no idea we've been preparing for this for months. But I need to know, are you all with me? One by one, they nodded. Even through their fear and uncertainty, I saw determination in their eyes. They had helped build Haven from nothing once before. They were ready to do it again. The next morning, I sat in a coffee shop across from City Hall, watching Robert arrive for work. He had no idea that at that exact moment, state investigators were receiving hundreds of pages of evidence documenting his abuse of power. My phone buzzed. A text from Anna. It's done. The AG's office has everything. Are you ready? I thought about all the nights we'd spent planning this, the strain it had put on her relationship with her family, the risk we were both taking. Ready? I texted back. I love you. Love you too. Make him regret underestimating you. I smiled, remembering something my father used to say. Success is the best revenge, but timing is everything. Robert thought he had won, that his power as mayor made him untouchable. He was about to learn how wrong he was. The rest of the day passed in a blur of activity. My management team was executing our backup plan flawlessly, securing new locations, contacting suppliers, reaching out to key employees. Everything had to be ready before the story broke. At 6 p.m., my phone buzzed again. It was Tommy. Channel 5 News just announced they're running a special report tonight on corruption in the mayor's office. Something about abuse of power and targeted harassment of local businesses. Right on schedule, I replied. The AG's office had promised to share the evidence with select media outlets. By morning, everyone would know what Robert had done. I drove home, feeling strangely calm. As I pulled into our driveway, I saw Anna waiting on the porch. Her face was pale but determined. Robert's been calling nonstop, she said as I joined her. He knows something's coming, but he doesn't know what. I took her hand. Are you sure about this? Once it starts. He's my brother and I love him, she said firmly. But what he's done, to you, to our employees, to this city, it's wrong. Sometimes family needs to face consequences. We sat together on the porch swing, waiting for the news to break. The warm summer evening felt surreal, like the calm before a storm. At exactly 9 p.m., my phone exploded with notifications. The story was live. The next morning's headline in the Boston Globe said it all. Mayor Suelivan accused of corruption and extortion. Below it, a subheading. Audio recordings reveal systematic harassment of local business. I watched Robert's hastily called press conference from my laptop. The usually polished mayor looked disheveled, his confidence replaced by barely controlled panic. These allegations are completely false, he declared, but his voice wavered. This is a coordinated attack by a disgruntled business owner who couldn't meet basic health and safety standards. Then a reporter asked the question we'd been waiting for. Mr. Mayor, how do you explain the recorded conversations where you explicitly link Haven's health inspections to their refusal to sell to Thompson Restaurant Group? Robert's face went pale. Another reporter jumped in. And can you comment on the $500,000 in campaign contributions you've received from Thompson Group over the past 3 years? I closed the laptop. The rest would play out exactly as we planned. My phone rang. It was James Thompson himself, CEO of Thompson Restaurant Group. Martinez, his voice was cold. This is going to get very ugly for everyone involved. It doesn't have to, I replied calmly. Unless you want the SEC looking into those consulting fees your company paid to shell companies owned by Robert's wife. Silence on the other end. Yes, we know about those too. Amazing what people will tell you when they think you're finished. What do you want? Thompson asked finally. Nothing. Consider this a warning. Stay out of my way, and all that evidence stays buried. Try to retaliate, and it goes public. After hanging up, I headed to our new flagship location. The building sat just outside city limits, deliberately chosen to be beyond Robert's direct influence. Construction crews were already at work, transforming the space into something spectacular. Maria met me at the entrance, clipboard in hand. Everyone's showing up for their new assignments, she reported. And you won't believe how many applications we're getting. Apparently, standing up to corruption is good for recruitment. I smiled, remembering all the nights we'd spent planning this transition. While Robert was focused on shutting down our city locations, we'd been quietly building something bigger. The new restaurants wouldn't be called Haven. That name had been tainted by Robert's campaign against us. Instead, we were launching as Phoenix Dining Group. The symbolism wasn't subtle, but it felt right. By noon, the story had gone national. Photos of our empty restaurants contrasted with the evidence of Robert's corruption, made compelling television. But the real bomb dropped when the state attorney general held her own press conference. This office has received extensive evidence of systematic abuse of power by Mayor Sullivan's administration, she announced. We are opening a formal investigation into corruption, extortion, and misuse of public resources. My phone buzzed with a text from Anna. He's resigning. Emergency announcement at 3 p.m. I gathered my management team to watch Robert's resignation. The man who stood at the podium barely resembled the arrogant brother-in-law who would try to destroy us. In light of recent allegations, and to avoid any further distraction from the important work of this office, he read from a prepared statement, I am stepping down as mayor, effective immediately. There was no celebration in our office, just quiet satisfaction and a renewed focus on building something better. That evening, as I was reviewing plans for our new locations, I received an unexpected visitor. Monica Sullivan, Robert's wife and the beneficiary of those questionable consulting fees. You've destroyed him, she said without preamble. No, I corrected quietly. He destroyed himself. We just provided the evidence. Thompson Group is abandoning him. The party wants nothing to do with him. Everything we built. Everything you built was based on corruption and intimidation, I said. Did you really think it would last forever? She stared at me for a long moment. You know this isn't over. Robert won't just disappear. I know. That's why I kept the most damaging evidence in reserve. Tell him that if he ever tries to retaliate against me, my family, or anyone involved in exposing this, everything comes out, including your role in it. She left without another word. But I knew the message would be delivered. The next few months were intense but rewarding. Phoenix Dining Group opened its first location to lines around the block. People came for the food but stayed for the story, the local business that stood up to corruption and won. We hired back every Haven employee who wanted to join us, with better benefits and profit-sharing options. Many of our old customers followed us to the new locations, bringing friends and family with them. Robert left town shortly after his resignation, moving to Florida where he had family connections. Anna struggled with the family fallout but never wavered in her support for what we'd done. He needed to learn that actions have consequences, she said one night as we sat in our new flagship restaurant watching the busy dinner service. Maybe now he'll understand that real success comes from building things, not destroying them. 1 year after Robert's resignation, Phoenix Dining Group had expanded to 12 locations across 3 states. Our success attracted attention from legitimate investors, allowing us to grow without compromising our values. The old Haven locations still sat empty, a reminder of Robert's abuse of power. But we had transformed that loss into something greater than we'd originally built. I kept the recording device I'd used to document Robert's threats. It sits in my office as a reminder that sometimes the best defense against corruption is simply paying attention and being patient enough to let your opponents reveal themselves. The final piece of closure came in an unexpected way. About 18 months after everything happened, I received a letter from Robert. It was short but clear. You won, not just the restaurants, but the respect I never wanted to give you. I underestimated you, and I paid the price. Take care of Anna. I showed the letter to Anna, who read it with tears in her eyes. Do you think he really understands what he did wrong? Maybe, I said. But more importantly, we showed everyone else that doing the right thing, even when it's hard, even when it costs you something, is always worth it in the end. The story of Haven's destruction and Phoenix's rise became a case study in business ethics classes. Students would analyze how systematic corruption could be exposed and defeated by careful documentation and strategic thinking. But for me, the real lesson was simpler. Success isn't just about surviving attempts to destroy you. It's about using those attempts as fuel to build something better. Every morning, as I walk into one of our Phoenix locations and see the busy dining rooms, the happy employees, the thriving business we've built, I'm reminded that the best revenge isn't just proving your enemies wrong. It's proving yourself right in ways they never imagined possible. The red KOZD signs that once marked our defeat have been replaced by the Phoenix logo, a symbol of renewal and resilience. And somewhere in Florida, Robert Sullivan has to live with the knowledge that his attempt to put me in my place only helped me find exactly where I belonged. That's the thing about trying to keep someone down. Sometimes you just give them the perfect reason to rise higher than ever before.